Okay, we're back to the Process Podcast with your host, Ed Averette and Eugene Brown.
That's me.
Yes. So take us back. Take us back to how you grew up. Did you come into money when you first grew up? Were you rich, man?
No, we were certainly very poor. My father was in the military for 30 years, so we were probably very much lower middle class. And over time, things don't work out between the mom and the dad, and my mom and I and the siblings, we moved back to Altoona, Pennsylvania, and made a run of it from there.
You said that you lived with your mom most of the time. Your dad was in the military.
Yes.
So that's where you saw him and you were like, hey, I want to go and join the military?
That was part of it, certainly, because we traveled around a great deal. We lived in North Carolina, Germany, a bunch of different places. And when they split, things were very different. The money was certainly very different. But my father, God rest his soul, instilled a lot of good things in me, as well as my mother. She has also passed at a young age. You learned a lot, but the journey was certainly not easy while we're going through all of these learning lessons, family learning lessons.
So how did your experience growing up financially limit or shape your views around money and success?
When you don't have anything, you still keep a good head on your shoulders growing up. One thing that shaped me a good bit was when I was in 6th grade, I was the only kid that didn't go on the trip to D.C.
I remember that trip.
Yeah, because we didn't have any money. I grew up in Pennsylvania. That was still elementary school back then. And I remember not stomping or crying about it or anything, but what burned in me was one day I will have money, and money won't prevent me from doing what I want to do. And so as the 11, 12, 13, those sort of years went on, my mother had dementia. She had diabetes. She eventually died years later of congestive heart failure, but we didn't have any food in the house. And so when I was 13, I called the police on my own mother because my little brother was diabetic and there was no insulin and there was no food. And my older brother was out and about. My younger siblings went to live with my dad at Fort McClellan, Alabama. And so then it was just me and my mother, and my brother was older and doing his thing. Things were very different. They weren't as stable as they needed to be.
So I experienced something similar. When I was a child, I actually had to call the police on my stepfather at 10, and they removed me from the home.
Okay.
And I was in foster care. I aged out of the system. So the family dynamic after that was a little tense. So how was that dynamic after you called?
Yeah, my mother, she suffered from depression, I'm sure anxiety.
Yeah.
She just really wasn't with it. And I didn't know anything about dementia. It was probably already fully enveloping my mother at the time. She was sad, certainly, like I said, depressed. At times there were a couple different dudes that would come to the house. People that showed up at the house buying our furniture that we bought from Germany and some nice pieces. All of that stuff was gone. There wasn't any bad relationship with my mother and I. She was struggling a good bit, and I stayed out of the house, running the streets a little bit with my friends, even though I was a good student. So time just went by fast, and then I joined the military at 18 for the GI Bill for college because I was a really good student, but we didn't have any college money, so I joined the military at 18.
So you took the GI Bill?
I did.
And you went to school?
No, I actually was an active duty ROTC scholarship winner.
Okay.
So I got out,
went
to Penn State, and then graduated from the University of Tampa. So I never even got a chance to use the GI because I got a scholarship.
And I love that. So in these interviews, I like to uncover the why. Every superhero, there's a reason why they became a superhero. A lot of people that are successful, they learn how to turn their pain. You turn that into success instead of blaming people and saying, hey, if I didn't grow up like this, or if my mom or my dad wasn't this way, then I wouldn't be that way.
Everyone always points the finger at somebody else. There's always a reason why they're not successful, or the reason why they do what they do. And part of it also, for some people, they don't even know why they do what they do. So I always challenge them to think about who you are, what has shaped your life, and why do you act the way you act. But getting back to your question, my why has just always been because it is possible. Like, why wouldn't you be able to do whatever? And people have the ceiling that's over their head where they think they can't do something. And I always say, if you believe that, that'll be true. You can't do it. But if you believe you can do something, and as they say, you shoot for the moon or shoot for the stars, and if you don't quite make it, you'll find that you'll have done well anyway.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that resilience. What was your first introduction to the world of finance and investing?
Like I said earlier in the first interview, the first part of it, it was really the stock market crashing in 1987. And so I took a strong interest in the markets then, and I've just found that that's where my passion is. And I always encourage people to follow their passion, figure out what they want to do, because if you're passionate about something, it never is work for you. I would do the market stuff for free even if it didn't pay me. It's just the knowing that I've executed good trades in a way that produced something. So it's about the process.
You worked at Ameriprise and Vanguard. How did those roles shape your understanding of money, and what did they not teach you that you had to learn on your own?
Yeah, I don't know. I've always been a big money sort of person. I worked at Ameriprise as a financial planner for just a year in Charlotte. It was good that I was able to be bright enough or put in the work to be able to pass the Series 7 exam. It's a 6-hour exam going over stocks, bonds, mutual funds, etc. And the Vanguard group was more of an information sort of person. Someone would call about, hey, what's this mutual fund details, or you want to do certain things. It's more almost like a customer service sort of role, an information sort of role. But those two roles have nothing really to do with making money in the stock market. I could take somebody who's a high school student, I promise you, who knows nothing about money, and teach them, here's what you need to know to be able to move money and move it successfully.
Oh, wow. I'm about to be that high school. I'm far from high school, but
Right.
sign me up.
Right.
Definitely sign me up. Going back to this, you turned $5,000 into 2.3 million in a single year during COVID.
Yes.
What was your first move after funding that trading account?
Something that I bought,
That
or
you bought.
as soon as I funded the account, like what did I buy? Or
What did you buy, and what was your next step? Were you trying to see how you could double that or triple that, or
No,
what?
it was just, again, about trying to make profitable trades and seeing if I can do it quick enough before my wife figured out that the money was missing and moving money around and that sort of thing. No, it was just about finding the right stocks that I believed would get the right outcome, which would be a profitable trade. And that's all it was, is just find the right names. And I try to take people through a system of finding stocks, qualifying them, and then enter and exiting them correctly. And that's just part of what I do from a coaching standpoint.
So what key strategies or patterns did you uncover that help you scale it so rapidly?
Part of it was the goals. The goal was to earn 10% of my money every week. And if I found the right trade setups, which I will explain another time or to people who I'm coaching, the main thing that I tried to focus on early on was buying breakouts. If Uber was trading at whatever, $90 a share, and then it would drop down to 80 and then to 70. And then when it went back up to 90, it would always hit its head. There's what's called resistance. There's a resistance level. And so eventually when a stock breaks out of a resistance level, it's called a breakout. And so when you have a breakout, a confirmed breakout where you have really good volume and the stock closes 5% above the resistance level, say that's $90 a share, you have a confirmed breakout. So I would buy breakouts because stocks tend to go higher once they break out of their resistance area. And I got really good at that and really good at moving money.
Was there a moment during that explosive growth when you realized, man, I made it?
I really felt like I was well on my way, even when I was only at $19,000, because I knew that, like, from a system standpoint, and I'll say it again, we're on the process with Ed Averette. From a process standpoint, the process was very sound. And then so it was easy to go from 19 to 33 to et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And you do the same thing over and over again. And I tell my students, just focus on getting a base hit. The same thing every single time. And when you do that, the results are going to follow you. And so if you have $10,000 and you get a base hit, say it's 10%, you make $1,000. It's no different if you have $100,000. It's just numbers. And now I make $10,000 on my money. And my average was about $10,000 a day over the course of that 1 year.
So what were some of the lessons that you learned? What were some mistakes that you may have made earlier that you could?
Yeah, a lot of them. Just not being disciplined with the process of evaluating stocks. Again, not thinking about money in the way that I needed to think about it, cherish it like I was never going to have any more of it, being too aggressive with what I was doing, buying stocks and then not allowing them to do what I thought they would do. If I bought IBM at $100 a share, and then all of a sudden I'd be like, oh, there's a squirrel over here. Here's compact computers, and I would sell this to buy this. I was all over the place. There was no plan. I didn't have good guidance. I knew what I needed to do, but I wasn't balanced enough. You have to be balanced trading stocks. You can't get too high and you can't get too low. Don't get all into the money. Here's another thing I tell people. If you believe you're going to have the money, when you have it, don't just you already knew you were going to have it. So when I hit $500,000, I'm like, I'm not dancing around in the streets. I knew I was going to have $500,000. It's not that big of a deal. Will you smile? Without question, you're going to smile. You're like, it's a nice number. But you're just still focused on the system. You're focused on the process of making money. That's the only thing you need to focus on. Don't worry about that actual dollar amount.
I can imagine when a year you took 5,000, was able to flip it to 2.3 million. I can imagine that it feels like the price is right. You know how you on the game show and you like, you want to stop? Or did you ever feel like, okay, this is good. I don't want to mess up and lose any more than I made. I'm just out. Did you ever feel like giving up either before or even after?
No giving up or anything. But right when I took the majority of the money out, the administration was changing. It was like February. And I was like, the stocks were acting a little wonky. The SEC was tightening the rope around some of the more aggressive stocks, making the requirements to be in some of these names a little bit more difficult. And I was like, okay, we knew we were going to buy a house. I'm like, let me take this money. Right. And then I'm blessed, I paid for our house with cash. I just wrote them a check and they're like, you're going to give it all to us now? And I'm like, yeah.
And it was a pretty nice size house too, right?
It's thankfully 6 bedrooms, 6 bathrooms, about 5,000 square feet. So but it was just, there was a neat moment where I was able to take out a pen, ask my wife for the check, and then write a check for $865,000 and hand it to the person. And they're like, wow, you're just going to pay for the whole thing. And it felt really good. It was a very nice moment.
But you deserve that. See, a lot of people see your story, but they don't know the glory behind your story.
There's a lot of work involved. Yeah. A lot of work.
And sacrifices on both ends. A lot of the unsung heroes are the spouses.
Oh, yeah.
They see you moving money around. They see you doing different stuff. They're like, baby, what you doing? Don't worry about it. It's going to work out.
It's going to work out.
And 90% of the time it doesn't. But but sometimes it does. Like in this case. So you have to have somebody that believes in your vision as well.
Without question. And I call the whole term the ride or die person that you're with. And if I say to my wife, hey, we're going to rob a bank. And I want her to say, what time are we robbing the bank? And are we going to jail? Are we going to get away with it? I'm kidding, everybody. We're not going to rob a bank. But that's what I want from her. I want you to be all in with me. Yeah. And she's always been all in with me. And I know at times I've disappointed her with saying I'm going to get something done and I haven't gotten it done. So there's still a little bit of side eye if I'm working on something, but I think she understands now that I'm very capable of getting a lot done.
Yeah. Good stuff, man. I know we've asked a lot of questions. Time just flew by. How can they reach you if someone wants to get involved and they want to get educated on the process of trading stocks?
Yeah, I would just say, I would imagine you guys are going to have some links somewhere, some QR codes. Click on the QR code. You can join the trading community for free. There will be a lot of good content there in the blog section. And if someone actually wishes to get trained, I have a number of groups that they can enter from as low as $97 a month to as high as you'd like it to go if you want my complete attention on the daily. So it's really a good price point for people to learn. I was having a conversation with a gentleman that joined the other day, and he said, no, I've got $97 a month. And I said, let me break it down for you. I said, if I teach you how to make 10% on your money every month, and say you start it with $5,000 and you compound that, let's do this exercise. Take out a calculator. And for you people at home, take out a calculator. Do 5,000 times 110%. Again, 10% on your money for the month. And just hit the equal sign. And of course, it's going to be 5,500. Then hit it again, the equal sign. It'll be 6,250. And do that 58 more times, 60 times, right? Which would represent 5 years. You will have about $1.6 million at the end of that 5 years. Now, can I teach you and help you become a millionaire prior to 5 years? Without question. But in the end, what are you really paying me? You're paying me less than $6,000 for 5 years of me training you how to make money. So you invest in yourself $6,000 or $97 a month until you've got it, whether that's 1 year from now and you spent $1,200. But the lifetime lessons that I'm going to give you, you're always going to be able to make money. And so the trade-off, it's a no-brainer. I teach you how to make money for life. You buy me a couple of steak dinners a month, and that's really not a lot to ask.
It sounds like a good exchange to me.
It is a very good exchange.
So I had one. I know we're going to wrap it up, but give me a success story of somebody that you were able to take from A to Z.
I've had people who learned what they had to learn, and they were done, like my buddy Greg out of Chicago. He learned it so well that he and I would stop having him pay me, and we would collaborate in the mornings, and he would say, this is what I see. And then I would look at here's what I see. And then we would decide on which stocks we were going to buy. He used to pay me, I guess it's like $500 a month for a good little while. So you have a number of those people, and you have some people like the teacher that I mentioned who's completed 4 successful trades in the last month and a half, who's just getting her feet wet. So there's a lot of success stories, and there's some stories where people who just don't listen to what I'm telling them, and then the stories are not so great where they get washed out of the market. So if you just take time to listen to what I'm telling you, you'll find that the success should follow you quite quickly.
Absolutely, absolutely. I definitely appreciate you being on. And in light of everybody is pivoting, right? And just hearing people wanting to make different moves, whether they're taking their 401k money, doing something different, or whatever, they're wanting to pivot into something new. And I think this is a great chance for people to reinvent themselves, to earn a living. In addition, that's not saying to stop what you're doing. You still can, you took the money and reinvested in the real estate. Right. So we're constantly investing into something. So this is just another lane for them to invest in.
Yeah. And what makes stocks amazing to me, I think it's the number one option, is that the ceiling to make money is unlimited. And you don't have to rely on anybody else. You don't have to send anybody's links out, which can be a great thing. It's just you moving your own money, and you can do it from 7 a.m. in the morning to 8 p.m. at night. And it's just you doing the homework. It's just you. It's just the sky is the limit if you just put in the work. And you can do it at any time. You're your own boss, and you can make as much money as you'd like. It's just up to you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you again for being on the show. So happy for your success. And do you have a podcast as well?
No, but I'd like to eventually possibly do that. Maybe I'll have you guys do the podcast thing for me and
for sure.
Figure out how to get that out there and educate some people with a good spirit. So
absolutely. This is basically giving people a safe space to speak about whatever it is that they want to tell people.
Yeah.
But thank you again. Great show.
You're very welcome. Thank you, sir. Nice to see you.
One love.